So I'm happy to be here and participate in this mini concert thing that's going on. And I'd like to push out a thanks for St. John's Cultural Council. I know Christine and Laura, they're over there whipping and spurring and getting all this stuff lined up, and I really appreciate that. And I'd like to thank the Campbell Rogers Festival folks, Neely, Mike, and John over here. There's a whole slug of them. They know who they are. They're all pals, and it's a good thing, you know. We're all looking for places to play, and this is making a good one. So, I've got a few tunes to do tonight. I got stuff that's some of my own stuff, just songs that I like, songs that friends have written, stuff I picked up over the years. That's kind of how I do it. And I got a whole lot of BS that goes along with my songs, so I'll be whooping that on you. And, yeah, it's going to be good. I don't know, I might just play a tune, you know. I'm not a big guy on words here, so maybe I'll do a little warm-up here. You guys all right with that? Yeah, a little windy and warm. That's kind of like it is today. I was outside all day working in the yard, and it was windy and warm. It's all right. I'm going to do this is a tune that I wrote a few years back. I grew up on a big farm up in Delaware, and 200-acre farm, been in my family for 6 generations. And on that farm, it was surrounded by the woods, and that woods was our playground as kids. And it was just kind of a place where we could go and let our imaginations run wild. And that's just what we did, and that's kind of what this song is about. 2 kids in the woods with their imaginations running wild. really know who these guys were. Well, back when we were young and bold, and the endless days of summer rolled as far as we could see, fishing poles and an old box kite, playing tag on a firefly night, just my brother and me. Well, the chores are done and the seeds are sown, and it's a pony ride down an old woods road, two minds running free, with some old bent nails and a rusty axe, and we carried it all in an old feed sack, just my brother and me. Well, the trees turned into forts, and the forts grew into ships, and we kept the thieves and pirates back with our courage and our wits. At the end of the day, well, we hauled away and we sailed across the sea, just my brother and me. My brother and me. Well, time has ways of slipping past, and what once moved slow now moves fast, like water down the stream. And the leaves have fallen and the hay is stacked, and the geese have flown, there's no going back, my brother and me. Well, maybe somewhere back there in the not too distant past, we were actors in some movie scene, it was never meant to last. But as for us, well, we both agree, and it's a late fall leaf-stained memory, and that's how it'll always be for my brother and me. Oh yeah. Yeah, well, you know, everybody knows me really well, knows I don't have a brother, but there's a fellow that I grew up with, or just a few years or a few days apart in age, and he's most definitely my brother, and we've managed to stay in contact all these years. So he still lives back there in Delaware, not 2 miles from where we did. All right, here's going to do a little tune here. This is one that I've been playing for a lot of years, and one of my guitar heroes was Doc Watson. He was a lot of people's guitar hero, and he was definitely mine. And actually, Gamble was one that turned me on to Doc. So, and I think Merle wrote this song. So it may be the only song that Merle ever wrote. I'm not really sure. Well, I've been hanging out of town, stuck in this old city. People having to call it home, they're the ones I pity, Lord, I'm homesick. Yeah, the blues are the only songs I ever seen to pick. Well, I go out and walk the street till I get blisters on my feet, I'm southbound. Well, I'm on route to the lead at night. I'm sitting by my window, counted sheep, put a good sleep for listening to the train blow. I begin to find, well, I hear that big old engine rolling down the line. Well, I'm going back to spend some time where I can have fun when I ain't got a dime. I'm southbound. Well, southbound, she's burning the ground, and I don't mean maybe. Sure am glad I caught the strings. I'd like to see my baby. I've been lonesome, long to see those hills that I come from. Well, listen to the engines rattle and roar, taking me back home once more. I'm southbound. Well, listen to the engines rattle and roar, taking me back home once more. I'm southbound. I got the train back in the station. A lot of times I take off on that so fast that I'm not sure I'm going to get the train back in the station. I managed to pull it off. So if anybody knows my material, and they got a request, just fire it off. And if I know it, I'll look like a genius, playing that song. All right. I'll tell you what, I'm going to do a little tune that is the one that I wrote. And back when I first came down here, it was 1971, and I wandered in the old trade winds. I had just turned 21, and I wanted to exercise my newly found rights. And trade winds seemed like a good place to do it, and I thought I was a pretty good guitar player. But I walked in there, and here's this tall, slender guy up there on the good stage playing, and it sounded like two guitar players at one time. And I realized right then that I didn't know all that much about playing guitar. So I kind of did what every guy would do that picks guitar. I went back night after night, got a seat right up front, and stole his licks, basically. And well, it wasn't for free. I had to sit up there. If you were in the trade winds in those days, Loretta and Amy were going to make sure that you had both hands filled with a beer, so that kind of slowed down my learning a bit. But this went on and on for a couple of years. I go in there and get my seat up front and watch his hands and go back and try that lick and come back the next night. On and on it went for a long time, and finally I took up my seat one night, and Gamble called me off the stage on break and handed me his guitar. He said, "Here, let me hear those licks you've been snitching." So put me on the spot there. And I told him how much I'd probably spent getting those lessons. He said, "Well, all you have to do is just come over to the house, and I'll show you anything you want to know." So that's what I did from that point on. So anyway, I wrote this little tribute song for Gamble. I had been going a long time, and came back for the festival, and walked around the old town. And when I got back, I was living in Utah. When I got back home, this song just kind of poured out. walk the streets of old St. Augustine, and I feel as though I'm halfway in a dream. Old memories stroll by on parade like some transcendental promenade, and Gamble played that old guitar. Well, Charlotte Street just seems to make me blue, and it don't feel the way it did in '72. I flash back to a time before when those notes rolled out the trade wind's door, and Gamble played that old guitar. I close my eyes and it takes me where the smell of jasmine's in the air, and Gamble played that old guitar. He'd play this. He sang those songs and told those stories well, and we all laughed and cried, how could we ever tell? Did he leave us on that sandy shore where we'd all long to hear him once more? Gamble play that old guitar. I close my eyes and it takes me where the smell of jasmine's in the air, and Gamble play that old guitar. He'd play this. Well, I can't hold it on the road when you're sitting right beside me, and I'm drunk out of my mind, merely from the fact that you are near. Well, nowadays I've drifted far away from that ancient city where I thought I'd always stay. Yeah, but in my mind I oft return to the place where the Haints and the Vandals turn, and Gamble play that old guitar. I close my eyes and it takes me where the smell of jasmine's in the air, and Gamble play that old guitar. As long as I can draw a breath, I know I never will forget when Gamble played that old guitar. When Gamble played that old guitar. When Gamble played that old guitar. I wish I could hear Gamble just pick that old guitar. Just like bubbles on a dolphin spread. Yeah, from old friend Gamble. Alrighty, well, while I'm on these doing my own tunes, I'll just do another one. I was telling you a little story about the farm that I grew up on. And like I said, it had been in my family for 6 generations. But, you know, like most farms of that size in those days, it's pretty hard to make a living on that much acreage. So basically, you just pay your taxes and plant your seed and hope you get enough out of it to get seed for next year and pay your taxes again. And look for a day job. I don't suppose it's any different for a farm that size anymore either. So, you know what my dad did? He had the same dream that a lot of Americans did. We wanted to retire and move to Florida, and that's what he did. He sold the farm and he moved down here, and that's how I came to get here the first time. So I made a trip back. I'd been gone for 30 years from the old farm, and I made a trip back to Delaware and walked around the old place. And this is a song that came out of that trip. The old house is still standing, no, not like before. It bears neglect of 30 years or more. If I hadn't been raised here, I'd never have known this old place I once called home. Across the way where my dad's old tool shed once stood, there's an old run-down trailer with tires on the roof, and the door hangs crooked and the windows are gone on this old place I once called home. When I close my eyes, my mind's eye can see where the weeds are now standing, the crops used to be. The corn planters rusted and the plow stands all alone on this old place I once called home. Walk down this road in the cool autumn wind, same path as my grandpa and his before him. Well, the sadness runs through me that cuts to the bone on this old place I once called home. It seems nothing's forever and memories a gift, things you don't think of when you're just a kid. But I've come to know this the further I've roamed from this old place I once called home. When I close my eyes, my mind's eye can see where the weeds are now standing, the crops used to be. The corn planters rusted and the plow stands all alone on this old place I once called home. Well, the fences are down, the old barn burned to ground on this old place I once called home. All righty. I got you sufficiently sad now, huh? Being really mellow here. Yeah. I got requests. My God, John's cued me in. And they're sad too, so I won't put them on you right away, or you got to fall asleep on me. I know that. I'm going to do a little tune. There's a lot of those tunes that I associate totally with Gamble, even though they were not his tunes. But and this is one of those tunes. This is an old Carter family tune, and I don't believe I've ever heard anybody else ever do this tune. even the Carter family. And it's called Kissing is a Crime. I know a little girl, and I want her for my wife. And she's pretty and sweet, neat little feet, and never been kissed in her life. I asked her for a kiss, she said, oh, what a bow. Now every time she vows in the clear, she'd never do so anymore. Oh, to be a better girl and never kiss again. I'm afraid my mom might find it out, it cause her great pain. But now you may talk and walk and hold my hand, but kissing is a crime. So I'll not kiss you anymore until next time. Called on the house one night, and I didn't intend to stay. Well, she laid her head on my shoulder and said, the old folks are away. And I kissed her a dozen times. Someone knocked on the door. Now every time she vows in the clear, she never do so anymore. Oh, to be a better girl and never kiss again. I'm afraid my mom might find it out, it cause her great pain. But now you may talk and walk and hold my hand, but kissing is a crime. So I'm gonna kiss you anymore until next time. Well, now you may talk and walk and hold my hand, but kissing is a crime. So I'm gonna kiss you anymore until next time. Alrighty. I got people saying hi. Lucy Lang, hey, hi. Marianne, Eminem, she knows what that's about. David Wilcox, Jesse, hey man, Teresa with you? people, I got people. All righty. All right, I think I'll do one of those requests. I can almost guess who requested this, but I'll just let it slide here. John's looking it up because I can't see, even with my old man glasses on. So this tune, this came from the days when I lived in Helper, Utah. And Helper is this little tiny town that sits at the foot of a mountain. And I'm hoping I got some of my Helper friends on here tonight. But anyway, they call it Helper because that's where they keep the Helper train engines. And they're pulling an 80-car coal train over the top and they need help. So they store the Helper engines there, and when the train gets there, it pulls them to the top, and then it comes back down. So Helper was a boom town back in the 30s and 40s. They had full-service hotels, which basically equates to you had a bar in the basement and a brothel upstairs. And now this is in Utah, folks. So, you know, I got wondering what it might have been like. It's also a mining area and a railroad area. What it might have been like for one of those young miners to maybe fall for one of those charming ladies. Don't ask me why I would wonder such a thing. I mean, the winters are long there, so, you know, you had to think about something. Well, that's what this is. It's called the Angel Bar. All right. Two, and I guessed the first one. I thought and Jim Springfield, and I'm sure Patty's talking in your ear because this is Patty's favorite song. And Sue's granny. Hi, Sue's. And Tom. Angel Bar. Things are sure different here in 1932. Hotels are style and the bars are wild, a boomtown through and through. And a miner's life is what I led, and the pay was mighty small. Spent Saturday nights in the bars downtown just to lose it all. Well, the first time I saw her, she was standing on the stairs, a brand new face at the old new house, and the light shone through her hair, and she looked just like an angel, bathed in that golden ray. And it pains me now to think how my heart got swept away. Well, every eye was on her. She walked up to me, and I wondered why, and my mouth went dry, and my mind told me to flee. And the nonsense just rolled out of my mouth, and I knew I lost my chance. But she just laughed and took my arm and asked if I'd like to dance. So we went down to the Angel Bar and danced the night away. Round and round those tables, two bodies sway, till we danced every song that band knew how to play. Later in her room, as we held each other tight, we fell asleep listening to the trains run through the night. Looking back, I can't describe all the things my mind could see. A lifestyle different than the one I lived seemed a possibility. Well, maybe we could change our ways and stop spending nights in town. And maybe she would be my wife and we would settle down. Well, she said we should leave this town when the weather turns to spring, and just buy a ticket to anywhere and see what life will bring. But so I just couldn't bring myself to leave this town to roam. So when the springtime came to bloom, my angel, she was gone. Now I'm sitting here in this Angel Bar, and sometimes she feels near, and the years just flying, the trains roll by, but I'm still sitting here. Like if I just wished hard enough, maybe she'll appear. But I don't believe I'll ever see my angel anymore. Yeah, and I'd give up everything if she just walked through that door. Yeah. There's an element of truth to that story, and I won't go into that, but some of these folks are still around. We won't mention names. All righty. So there you go, Patty. I knew that was one you wanted. I knew it was you. All right, let's see if we can pull this off. little picking tune. It's just the one string. I don't know what it is. It was tuned when I bought it. This is called The Place Where I Come From. And that's how that goes. All right, let's see here. Oh, I know what I'll do. Here's a little tune. You know, when I left out of here in '78 and went out to Utah, and I was out there 30 some odd years. I can't remember, but I know it was 35 or 6 years. And we had been coming back here to the St. Augustine for about 10 years prior to us moving here, and I would go to the Gamble Rogers Festival and play. And on one of those trips, my wife Chris says, you know, I think I could live there. And, you know, I was coming up on the retirement age, and that's really all I needed to hear. So, you know, I'm back there putting together a plan, and I'm thinking about that. And we had a kind of a treacherous winter, and I'm out there shoveling snow and throwing it about as high as I can stack it. And the words to this song start popping in my head. So, you know, I told a lot of my Utah friends I was thinking about moving out here, and they're all like, well, why would you go to Florida? You know, they got hurricanes and mosquitoes and alligators and mosquitoes and hurricanes. And, you know, it's hard to explain unless they've been here to St. Augustine, because it's a unique place, as you well know. So what I kind of decided to do was get them all in one place and sing them this song. It's contagious. It's spread to the other string. Yeah, one of these mornings, and it won't be long, gonna pack up my suitcase with a prayer and a song, leave my troubles behind, start living that dream, and head on back to St. Augustine. Yeah, I don't know what it is that makes me feel this way. Sand in my shoes, you know, some people say it's like a centerfold straight from a travel magazine when I'm thinking about St. Augustine. Well, now maybe it's the bayfront in the pale moonlight, while the smell of sweet jasmine drifts through the night. And maybe I'm just tired of this big winter coat, or it could be because my buddy Bob's got a boat. Couldn't be that. Couldn't be that. It'd be really shallow to just move, or, you know, that kind of a reason. It actually turned out it wasn't. It's a canoe. You know, that's kind of a boat. Well, now it may be just a symptom of my chronic fixation, but the food tastes better in that corner of the nation. And other places are fine, I ain't trying to be mean, it's just better down in St. Augustine. Well, now maybe it's that chowder that makes me feel this way, or a trip down to Osteen's for the catch of the day. Some deep fried oysters really make me sigh, and I can order shrimp and grits without raising an eye. And let me tell you, folks, there's no place in Utah where you can do that. Not that I ever found. Well, whatever the reason, you know it ain't no crime for a man to be afflicted with a terminal smile. So I'll set my course back toward the city of my dreams and head 'em back to St. Augustine. Head 'em back to St. Augustine. Head 'em back to St. Augustine. Yeah, I'm heading back, oh, to St. Augustine. Yeah, and that's how I came to get here the second time. My goodness. Who's here? Who's on here? People I don't even know. Hi, folks. Because I like you, I'm going to tune this thing up here. You know, I think if they didn't have electronic tuners, I couldn't even tune a guitar anymore. We had that discussion the other day, how we used to take out our tuning forks and bang them on our knee and hold them on the bridge, and it gave you an E note. You went from there. I'm pretty sure that I couldn't do that anymore. All right. I had a request to do this song, and I'd almost bet, that it was Paul Linzer. John just whipped out a tuning fork. Now, I'm not going to try it, folks. I'm not even going to try it. I am really thankful for John Dickey. So this song is about a fellow by the name of Wag Dodge. And Wag Dodge gets the distinction of being the first firefighter to ever think of setting a backfire in a forest fire to create a safe haven. And he did it on the fly, out of sheer necessity. This came to him. And he took criticism till the day he died for this. And it happened back in 1949 in Montana. So that's what this song is about. It's called The Cold Missouri Waters. It's a James Keeling tune. You know, I went to see Greg Brown in Salt Lake City one night, and James Keeling opened for him, and I had no prior knowledge of James Keeling at all. And he played this song, and it just literally pinned us to our seats. So it's a powerful, powerful tune. Well, my name is Dodge, then you knew that. It's written on the chart there at the foot end of the bed. They think I'm blind, I can't read it, but I've read it every word, and every word it says is death. So confession, is that the reason that you came? To get it off my chest before I check out of the game. Since you mentioned it, well, there's 13 things I'll name, 13 crosses high above the cold Missouri waters. August 49, West Montana, the hottest day on record, and the forest tender dry. Lightning strikes in the mountains. I was crew chief at the jump base. I prepared the boys to fly to pick the drop zone. C-47 comes in low, and you feel the tap upon your leg that tells you go, and you see the circle of the fire down below. Well, 15 of us dropped above the cold Missouri waters. I gauged the fire, I'd seen bigger, so I ordered them to side hill, and we'd fight it from below, and we'd have our backs to the river, and we'd have it licked by morning, even if we took it slow. But the fire crowned, and it jumped the valley just ahead, and there was no way down, so we headed for the ridge instead. Too big to fight it, we'd have to fight that slope instead. Flames one step behind above the cold Missouri waters. The sky turned red, smoke was boiling. 200 yards to safety, death was 50 yards behind, and I don't know why, I just thought it. I struck a match to waist-high grass, running out of time, and I tried to tell them, step into this fire I've set, we can't make it, this is the only chance you'll get. But they cursed me, and they ran for the rocks above instead, and I lay face down and prayed above the cold Missouri waters. Then I rose like the phoenix. In that world reduced to ashes, there were none but to survive. And I stayed that night one day after, and I carried bodies to the river, wondering how I stayed alive. 13 stations of the cross to mark their fall, and I've had my say, and I'll confess to nothing more. And I will join them now, those that left me long before. 13 crosses high above the cold Missouri waters. 13 crosses high above the cold Missouri shore. All right. That song gives me chicken skin to sing it. So thanks a lot, Paul. No, I don't know if it's Paul. Paul likes that song. Maybe I better go back to the tin and fork, I don't know. All righty. What do we got here? How about a good old Gamble Rogers team? Because I do a few of those. I didn't waste all that beer in the trade winds for nothing. So when I think of the trade winds, I do think of this song. A cabaret on the highway. Oh, the time is 10 till 2. A pretty waitress at my table. A pretty waitress at my table. She says, what can I do for you? I said, now baby, I'm so lonesome. Yeah, my mind is still at ease. I need a woman, yeah, to hold me. Yes, but if you cannot love me, then Jack Daniels, if you please. Whiskey and water. Whoa, whiskey and water. Here's to fear, pain, and sorrow, Jack Daniels, if you please. So I called on Miss Maggie Gentry. Oh, I fell down on my knees. Maggie, darling, I need some loving. Yeah, deep, deep down in my dark old soul. Won't you set my mind at ease? She said, now baby, I'm gonna love you. So lay your head down across my knees. I'm gonna squeeze you, yeah, tease. Yeah, but there's one thing I got to ask for first. What's that, mama? Jack Daniels, if you please. Whiskey and water. Whoa, whiskey and water. Here's the fear and pain and sorrow, Jack Daniels, if you. Fear and pain and sorrow, Jack Daniels. Take this fear, pain, and sorrow and give me some Jack Daniels, if you please. Yeah, make it a double. Alrighty. John gave me a look. I don't know what that look was. Alrighty. We'll give this one a try. A lot of people think that, or they associate the blues with the Mississippi River, and rightfully so. And when they think about it, they think about New Orleans and that lower end of the Mississippi River. But this song kind of points out that the Mississippi River actually starts up in Minnesota. And people up there got good reason to feel the blues too, maybe a little more so when it's in the middle of the winter time. And that's what it's called, the other end of the Mississippi River Blues. Where the Mississippi flows through the Southland, and many a song and rhyme. And I guess I do well to visit the Delta someday if I get the time. Oh, but in the land of sky blue waters, well, she loved me and she turned me loose with the other end of the Mississippi River Blues. They got the blues down in Louisiana, yeah, they sing them up in Memphis town. Where the muddy water flows, everybody knows it's the cradle of that mournful sound. Oh, but somewhere up near Lake Itasca, where the mighty river starts to move, I got the other end of the Mississippi River blues. They got the honeysuckle vine, I got the lonesome pine. They got banjo on the levee, I got a heart that's cold and heavy. Well, it all ends up in New Orleans. Yeah, but this is where it all begins, where you can travel this wide world over, anywhere you choose to roam. Yeah, but if you ever go to northern Minnesota, you better leave your heart at home, 'cause she'll love you and she'll leave you crying when, brother, you'll be introduced to the other end of the Mississippi River blues. Got the magnolia trees, sweet summer breeze. I got ice and snow, 26 below. Whoa, well, it on up in New Orleans. Yeah, but this is where it all begins. Well, you can travel this wide world over, anywhere you choose to roam. Yeah, but if you ever go to northern Minnesota, better leave your heart at home, 'cause she'll love you and she'll leave you crying with a feeling that you can't shake loose. And it's the other end of the Mississippi River blues. Yeah, and that's the truth. I've not been to Minnesota, but I can only imagine. It's cold. Alrighty, let's see what we're gonna do here. I'm gonna take you on a little swing out to Utah. If you ever get out in the southwestern corner of Utah, down there where that state's really just beautiful. I mean, it's a beautiful state, but that's a real pretty corner. You got lots of national parks down there. And you go get around to Escalante town in that area. Sooner or later, you're going to hear a story about a fellow by the name of Everett Roos. And Everett was a young guy, lived back in during the Depression days, Depression era. And he was an artist, he was a poet, he was a writer, and he loved to travel. And he started traveling at a very young age. He would travel out into the high Sierras, and he'd be gone for a month at a time, and I'm sure his parents were worried. And he would stay out there, and he'd make woodcuts and prints and write in his journal. Well, he'd do that, and he'd come back home for a while, and then he kept going further and further and further. And by the time he was in his 20s, early 20s, he had traveled clear out into the Four Corners area. And one day he wandered out of the Four Corners area on his two pack mules, and he was never seen or heard from again. And there was always a lot of speculation. It kind of tore the town apart because some people suspected that someone in town had killed him, and they don't know. They found his mules, but they never found Everett, and it remains a mystery to this day whatever happened to him. And you can find his prints in some museums. But his whole thing was he was in search of beauty, and he could only find it in those wild places out there in the stark red rock country. So this is a little tune about Everett. My name is Everett Bruce, and I've been dead for 60 years. I was a young man in my 20s on the day I disappeared into the Grand Escalante Badlands on the Utah-Arizona line. They never found my body, boys, or understood my mind. Well, I grew up in California, and I love my family and my home. But I ran away to the high Sierras, where I could live free and alone. And folks said he's just another wild kid. He'll grow out of it in time. But they never found my body, boys, or understood my mind. I broke broncos with the cowboys, sang healing songs with the Navajo, and I danced the snake dance with the Hopi, and I drew pictures everywhere I'd go. And then I swapped all my drawings for provisions, just to get what I needed to get by. And they never found my body, boys, or understood my mind. And I hate your crowded cities with your sad and hopeless mobs. And I hate your grand cathedrals where you try to trap God. 'Cause I know God is here in the canyon with the rattlesnakes and the pinyon pines. They never found my body, boys, or understood my mind. They say I was killed by a drifter, or I froze to death in the snow. Maybe mauled by a wildcat when I'm living down in Mexico. But my end doesn't really matter. All that counts is how you've lived your whole life. And they never found my body, boys, or understood my mind. 'Cause you give your dreams away as you get older. Oh, but I never gave up mine. And they'll They'll never find my body, boys, or understand my mind. All righty. So I got words of encouragement. That's good. You know, I need it. Believe me. You know, I'm just basically this insecure guy who plays guitar. But I'm approaching closeout here, and I nailed it. I like that. They're so rare. It happens so rare. So, I'm going to attempt this little tune here because, I've been hearing this on Facebook. It came up and it put an earworm in my ear, and I played it around the house. Pretty soon, Chris was humming this thing. And maybe the only way I'll get rid of it is to play it for you, and you take it. But it seems to somehow ring right now in this time we're in. And once again, I'd like to thank everybody. I am the last act of this festival that we're doing here. And I'm really happy. Doesn't mean anything. I'm not trying to imply that everybody else opened up for me. I'm just closing for them. Anyway. Got to tell you, I've been racking my brain, hoping to find a way out. I've had enough of this continual rain. Changes are coming, no doubt. Well, it's been too long time with no peace of mind, and I'm ready for the times to get better. A long, lonesome time with no peace of mind, and I'm ready for the times to get better. How about you guys? You seem to want from me what I cannot give. I feel so lonesome at times. I have a dream that I wish I could live. It's burning holes in my mind. Well, it's been too long time with no peace of mind, and I'm ready for the times to get better. A long, lonely time with no peace of mind, and I'm ready for the times to get better. Yes, I'm ready for the times to get better. Yeah, I'm ready for the times to get better. All right. Thanks, folks. I've enjoyed it. Hope you have too.